So forgive my lack of sexy, cool, reflective shades. But I I'll try not to look up. Uh, and I think most people know the reason why. Sometimes I cover my face, and other times I don't. S- Part of it's out of humility. The other part is um, not wanting to gain sympathy or let people in on the personal struggle that I'm dealing with. Uh, Especially with the those who claim to be Christian or Orthodox or whatever, but those who claim to follow Christ, who would use it as a sign of, see, God hates you. Um, but I don't want anybody to worry because tomorrow's promised to nobody, so it's not like I'm in a worse situation than anybody else. Um, Somebody perfectly healthy can get, can die in a car accident. I'll still be around, and medicine is making huge advancements. So some days I look better than others, and some days I feel better than others. But I wanted to address the mushroom Jesus incident or controversy. Now I made a drawing, or I took a canvas and I copied this onto the canvas, but I couldn't find the actual stained glass for where this came from because I think it's very interesting. And I've made uh, I made a full size painting of this where um, Satan in the garden is tempting Christ, or is this the garden? No. Well, it seems like he's tempting him in the desert with psychedelic mushrooms. But definitely the dragon. People say, "Oh, it's a snake." No, it was a dragon. Um, uh, is shining gold with created a fire with wings, and just look up what the root of the it was. But whatever, the foreshadowing of the devil in the Garden of Eden. It, the forbidden fruit or the tree of life is psychedelic mushrooms. Here we see psychedelic mushrooms all throughout the creation of the world, and then in tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then the expulsion. And this was a weird thing that it was never an early iconography, but it came up, I believe, in the 13th century in Germany. So there was a sect of monks that were using psilocybin. Okay. But what irritates me is when they have things like the stylites, right? Who are clearly standing on pillars, you know. Oh, that's a mushroom. Or this. This is life giving font. Now, this came from the Middle East. There's those type of hallucinogenic mushrooms don't grow down there. There's other ways to hallucinate, but it wouldn't be using mushrooms, right? I mean, it's just it's ludicrous. Or this saying, "Oh, see this. This is a mushroom. This represents mushroom." Just stretching it really, really, really hard. Again, another stylite. Now, these came well over 1,000 years after the first icons, and well over 1,000 years after the rise of Christianity. Well, actually, about 13 centuries afterwards. So it was the monks that were using these, obviously. Psilocybin. It was very important to them. It may have came over from their culture. Um, was it sinful? No, I don't see anything in scripture or the canons to say that it's sinful. It was something they did. I mean, people used 100 years ago. People used cocaine and opium as a normal thing. Are they all condemned evil people? It's only a very, 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 very modern thing of with the war on drugs is seeing mood altering substances as evil, even though that we have a whole we have a whole industry in the United States devoted to um, things like antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, um, which have done wonders for mental health. um, so, and then the war on drugs, all it did was just fill our prisons and ruin young men's lives who did stupid things when they were in their 20s, nonviolent crimes, and now they're in prison for 20 years and they can never get a job again for the rest of their life. So, was Jesus a mushroom? Obviously not. But was there a sect of monks in Northern Europe, um, well over 1,000 years after Christianity began, uh, who were using psilocybin or some other type of mushroom and incorporating into their iconography, of course. But it's definitely not the life-giving font or the life-giving spring Theotokos, as I showed you, which is my favorite icon, by the way, because there it is. And it's not the stylites. Also, I included, I I uploaded a few, basically 3 segments of about 20 seconds long to show what worship is like to those who are not don't really know much about Orthodoxy, but when you step out of when you go into an Eastern Orthodox church, you step out of the busy world of cell phones and all the traffic and noise and everything and artificial light. You go into a place that sounds different, smells different, looks different. Everything is it's a mini vacation. It's like stepping out of this world into another country in the past, and it's like a decompression chamber. Um, and I would encourage, especially somebody who I consider a good friend and definitely uh, somebody who I really have a great debt to, Jack Frost. I would encourage him just to go to Vespers at an Orthodox church and just to experience it. Again, I'm not trying to push proselytizing on him, um, but um, but just to see how it is. Uh, and I think he might be impressed with that and see how drastically different that is from some contemporary worship or even the watered down modern Roman Catholic form of the Mass. All right, peace to you. May God save Serbia, Syria, and Ireland, and please pray for Christians of Serbia or Syria, Egypt, Ukraine, and Serbia as well, by the way, and the ones in Kosovo. All right, peace, brothers.